Hello there, and welcome to yet another episode of my Car Mechanic 2021 series. We're on the last car in the uh, Mercedes-Benz DLC, specifically the W124, aka the 500E. Bought it in auction and not in the best of shape. Plus, it's in like three colors instead of two. But that's what we're here to fix. We're going to get this up to 100% condition like we've done everything else in the past. First things first. Fix the frame up. I do not like that purple that's on there. This is what I was talking about in the previous episodes as a Joker car because it's purple, green, and black. We're hoping to fix that. So get rid of that. Start pulling panels, everything, basically everything off the body. Can't tell if like maybe somebody was trying to half-ass, fixing it or what the deal was. A bit of a gap there. Interesting. Alright, so you should be 1%. Okay, good. Let's see what we can fix up. Alright, so hang on. Yep. Get rid of the license plate because we're going to do custom sort by condition. And we're going to sell everything that is not in excellent shape. Okay. We've got a rear left door. Okay. We have the rear bumper. We got the front left door. And I think the left fender is what I saw in there. And the hood. Alright, so we're missing a lot of stuff here. So let's fix that. We're going to go ahead and just get the major body panels and we'll get the mirror or the rest of the windows and everything on the next pass. So bodywork station. Sorry. Double checking the name here. So we are going to go get, let's see, we got a headlight. Got our other headlight, the accompanying wiper blaze. Fancy. Got a bumper. Front right fender. Right rear door. Front right door. Windshield. And got a rear window. Trunk. And looks like both taillights. Alright, let's get these on there. I've seen those little wiper blades for the headlights on, I think it was, I want to say it was a Volvo. I might be wrong on that, but there was one of my coworkers at my former job that had a little fancy car that Had the little wiper blades. I just thought they were a bit excessive. I mean, I suppose they were marginally effective, but it seemed over the top, you know? That's just my opinion, you know. I'm sure that person was very happy with that vehicle. They probably still have it for all I know. Alright, let's get the rest of these parts. Okay. Let's get these in. Windows. Come on, get in there. Okay. So now we just need custom plates. Let's see. I'll do my standard plates that I do every time when I'm not doing like a theme build. Okay. There we go. Okay, so body and frame are now 100%. I mean, that color doesn't look quite so bad when it's not completely banged up, but we're still going to change it. Alright, so looks like the interior is complete. We just need to replace everything. So we'll... I have to hop clean out and then do that. Okay. Right, for the interior shop. All the new stuff in. Okay, the interior is taken care of. We might just do like the paint job that's on there, you know, in the picture, kind of a black glossy, maybe a pearl coat or something. Yeah, I think we'll do that. Kind of digging that look. So yeah, let's get the tires before I forget. I forgot this on the previous video until kind of late in the process. Alright, one more. And as usual, these only do one tire size. Yep. Alright. Get them, let's get all the tires separated. Come on. There you go. Okie dokie. Let's go fix the rims. They should be in good enough shape. Yep, they are. Good. Good, good, good. Good. Alright. Now we just need to... I'm going to get rid of all but one since they're all the same tire size. And we need to put 4 of those on there. Skip the rim shop, go straight to the tires. Okay, I managed to somehow misclick something. That's okay. Oh, I meant... okay, I double clicked and I hit that delete from list. That's what I did. Oh, okay. So 225.55. Yeah, let's just verify. 225.55 R16. 225.55 R16. There we go. Alright, let's get these back together. And last, should be last one. Yep, just making sure. I just want to double check. Sometimes you miscount or you don't pay attention. And you end up missing one. Doesn't happen very often, but can't be too careful, you know? Well, I've got you guys watching this, for those who are actually watching this far in. Just giving you shit. I do have a question I want to pose to everybody that watches these videos. What kind of YouTube series would you like to see next? I'm trying to make some plans for the future. And I mainly do like simulators and sandbox games. So, I mean, you could do all kinds of stuff. I mean, hell, even Minecraft's on the table, even though that, trying to get that into like an episodic content format might be interesting. Could be just like a series of small builds. It could be like a multi-part project on like a creative flat map that I've been working on for the better part of a decade. Well, off and on, anyway. So, but anyway, give me some ideas along those lines. Like I said, simulators, not necessarily racing games, but stuff like that you would like to see. Because I have everything like Construction Simulator. I have a lot of other simulator type games that I've already bought, but I haven't played. I even have PC Builder Simulator. We could do that. Just, you know, throw me some ideas there in the comments on this video, and I'll definitely take them into consideration. Okay. So now we got the tires taken care of. Let's get this thing over to paint so I can actually look at this thing without wanting to gouge out my own eyeballs. Oh, isn't that cute? Ew. Looks like something out of the Transporter, but you know, I think it's called the Transporter. It's that one Jason Statham film where he just like uh takes those like he basically he's like a courier of sorts and gets into various hijinks with the kind of stuff he's carrying around or driving around. It's actually not a bad series, at least in the beginning. Okay. Tell me that how the frick is this that purple like this? How the hell is that a factory color? We're talking a rich person car here, man. People drive this stuff around because it's, you know, nice, stylish, upscale, and arguably, you know, a nice little business car in some cases. How the frick is that Joker purple a factory color option? It's got to be a thing with the game itself because why? It does not compute. Does this have any libraries? Yeah, yeah. What'd that do? Just changes the two-tone? Oh god, no. Hell no. It wouldn't be so bad if it was like set the stripe was maybe centered in, you know, not such an ungodly color. I think we're just gonna leave that like that. Cool. Alright, let's get you back in the garage there. Yep. Slap some government tags on it. It'd be good to go. Ooh, that's a thick boy. Oh, pardon me. Like it's reasonably parts complete. Why am I? Come on, select the engine. There you go. We don't seem to be missing much of anything. That's good. I tell you what, we're going to not fill. We're gonna actually. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that supposed to be like bright green? Ew. We want to go ahead and drain everything because we're going to end up fixing or replacing all of this stuff. Also, ew. Hey, where's your master cylinder? Oh, it's hiding behind the engine. You know what would be funny? If you took that drain tool and tried to use it on the filler cap and it goes, really? And it just backs you right out after you click on the prompt. Sorry, just a little bit of passive aggressive humor. Okay, so doesn't look like we need to pull anything off of this engine from up here, hopefully. So let's get this thing in the air. We'll disconnect the drive shaft, get the gearbox and starter off. Probably unhook the exhaust. Yeah, the exhaust is complete. So good news is this exhaust system's complete, or the car looks complete. It's just not in great shape. It has a really big front exhaust pipe. Like literally they just... The rear muffler's part 1, this is part 2. The resonator's on the end of the front exhaust pipe. That's cool. Sounds expensive too. Okay, let's get the gearbox off, aka the transmission. Alright, all that stuff is clear. Let's see, we want... Mark you. get rid of you because we're going to be doing a performance part replacement of that anyhow when we get there. Notice I said that instead of anywho, just to throw people off. Apparently saying anywho throws more people off than it should. Not sure why, but bit of observation, bit of an observational thing I've noticed over the years. Not everybody says something, but every once in a while. Okay. So now everything's 100%, so this will all be ready to go when we get ready to put everything back together for the car. And yeah, we're ready. I think we're ready to pull the engine. I'm not normally a Mercedes guy, but I would actually drive this. I like the styling of it. Simple, to the point. It's tasteful without being tacky or, you know, obnoxious. And also, it's like the stereotypical, like, big shot businessman type thing. You ever seen, like, in those mobster or, like, drama, military drama stuff? You always see, like, the diplomats or the government types or the business people driving around and stuff like this. Like, usually in a line with little flags on the corners and shit. Yeah. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting off of that. I've seen way too many movies. Brain no key. Okay, so let's break out the cherry picker. We're gonna yank this engine out. And no, we don't have to have the hood open because... Oh right, we forgot the oil. Getting in a hurry. Remember I was making a joke about the oil earlier? Well... Game's like, hey, you didn't do something, idiot. Right. You can't bring the lift down on yourself, thank goodness. That'd be kind of awkward, wouldn't it? I don't even think you can die in this game. I mean, you can't, because if you could, we would have done so on that test track about, what, a couple dozen times already? Anyway. Easy peasy. Yep. We got our engine. And it looks like it's part complete. Don't know the conditions of everything. And, I think we've got a slightly modified V8. Yeah, it's fine. Kind of an odd looking oil pan on it, though. We can work with this. So, we're going to do with this the same thing we've done for the last 43, 44 episodes, whatever we're on now. Thank you guys for watching all those, by the way. You guys have been awesome on that. Group effort. But anyway, we're going to strip this thing down to the engine block and the crankshaft and toss everything else. I know it's a bit excessive, probably not the most efficient way to do it, but it's the way I do it. There you go. So... And then we're going to build it back up from its base constituents with as many performance parts as we can stuff in there. Alright, so let's get started. Oh, how dare! You actually have clips holding the frickin' engine cover on. How dare you make sense? Evil. Okay. Usually it just pops off on most of the ones that have the plastic covers. Yeah. Okay. That's why. It's integrated into the filters, which are on both sides of the engine. Gotcha. That makes sense. Kind of. Snag these coils. Wow, that's where the throttle is. Okay. Neat. Get the fuel rail off so we can get to the intake manifold. I got distracted. I was like, I realized I had a couple of rusty bolts. I wish this kind of had a third person when you're driving the car. That'd be kind of nice. Be able to see how it's doing from the outside while you're driving it, you know? Like maybe over the back of the vehicle, kind of like that one third person camera you get in like American Truck Sim and Euro Truck Sim. That one camera view that kind of puts you up and behind the vehicle so you can still drive. I actually think that would be kind of cool. Watch this thing actually have it and me not be paying attention for like how many hours have I been playing this? A lot. And second got it. Only one rusty bolt. Could have been worse. Alright, let's get the exhaust manifold off. Get off there. Thank you. I noticed instead of a belt tensioner, they're using just another pulley as the thing that does the tensioning. I mean, nothing wrong with that. You know, just different design. Alright. That off there. That's a pretty hefty looking water pump. I'd love to be able to learn how to do this kind of restoration in real life though. And I mean, not just on like Mercedes cars, I'm talking about doing it with cars in general. It's the tinkerer part of my brain that is engaged in stuff like this. When it's working on cars, both in this game and in real life. I can do basic maintenance on my vehicles at home. I've saved myself quite a bit of money over the years just learning how to do some of the easier equipment fixes and replacements. Like I had the VVT valves, if you guys know what those are on modern engines. I've had one on, I can't remember if it was the intake or the exhaust side, but I had there were two of those VVT valves on my, I had a 2013 Equinox, and you know, about 8-ish years after, 8 or 9 years after I bought it, I started seeing a weird bit of behavior on it where, you know, I'd be driving around just fine, and then I go pull into like a parking spot, and even then the car would be fine until I put it in reverse, backed out, and then tried to put it back into drive, and it would stall. I could start the car right back up, but it would throw a check engine light, and it would show a code when I read the, because I have a rather antiquated ODP2 scanner that I invested in for, you know, years and years and years ago, somehow still works. Which, by the way, I recommend if you want to try to figure out issues with your car yourself, or at least have something to tell the mechanic when you bring it in, or have it brought in if it doesn't, you know, run. At least, or if it does run and has the problem, you know, that kind of thing. Somewhere, if it's if the car's in a state where you can get a good code read off of it, if you have that in hand, that can help them narrow down pretty quickly what's going on. I mean, they're going to do it themselves to just verify, but You come in saying, hey, I've got this error code and the car does this when I try to do XYZ thing. And trust me, once they see that you're actually trying with it, even if you're not, you know, mechanically minded, trust me, you make your mechanic a little bit happier because they know that you're at least attempting to learn about the very thing that you drive on a daily basis. But anyway, back to what I was saying. One of the VVT valves was having issues. It would throw pretty consistent error code every time it happened. Got a code scanner, plugged it in, found out what it was, and looked up the parts. After I looked up the problem, this is why YouTube is actually a good thing. You want to learn, you know, how to fix easier, simple stuff on your car. Chances are someone's made a YouTube video for it. And but then you got something to work with, essentially. Even if you don't actually go do the fix yourself, you can at least say, okay, I've got this error code, this car or truck is doing this when I do that. You can go in there, find something like that, and be like, oh, okay, and you have a better understanding of the problem. Or at least stuff you can check. You know? It's just some, you know, basically entry-level debugging. Except in this case, it's you're debugging your car, not a software program. But you can learn this kind of stuff, and once you learn it, you can, you know, help others with it in case they run into the same thing too. That's the beauty of YouTube. You show how to do stuff like that. That's not, well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's common knowledge, but it's like something that, you know, most people would just be like, oh, the car's just acting up, I'm just going to bring it in. And perfectly fine if you do that. But people like me, I want to know why it's doing it and if I can fix it myself. And it turns out I just needed to replace the one valve, but the recommendation I saw online is if you replace one, chances are you probably want to replace both just to be safe. And they were like $20, $30 parts or something like that. Can't remember. It wasn't that horribly expensive to get the pair, and it was relatively easy to get to it. You just had to take a few things off the top of the engine, like the airbox and some of the tubing and stuff for the intake. But other than that, it was pretty much just sitting right there on top of the engine, and you just had to just ratchet them out, put the new and pop them out because they're in there pretty tight. And you get them out, put the new ones in, because you can't mess them up. They're different sizes and different colors for the connectors, so you can't fuck it up too badly. At least not on this car, anyway, that I was driving at the time. And I got the parts from Rock Auto. I came in, I did the fix right out in the street because I had it parked out on the street. And took a little bit of effort. Not exactly, you know, Mr. Universe here in terms of arm strength, but I was able to do it. Put everything back together. Got everything hooked up. Put battery back in. Buttoned everything up. Started it right up. Took it around. Took it to a nearby bank parking lot. Parked it in a parking spot. Backed out. Did, you know, did that like 2 or 3 times. Thing ran like butter. I was so happy. Because I know if I went to the dealership, one, they do a parts markup. So you're already paying that. Then you're paying for labor. And even then, it wasn't that long of a repair, but they would still charge you an arm and a leg for labor. And it was like a 9-year-old car, so the warranties were all expired. So for, what, 50, 60 bucks in parts and a little bit of patience? Boom. See. Yeah, we just want to fix the crankshaft. Fuck. Go back. At least it didn't completely brick it. That's why I usually don't talk while I'm doing that kind of stuff. English wheel. See, that's what I don't get. You go over here and click on that, and it's the same thing. You would think, like, if you took that's one thing I wish they would kind of differentiate the parts a little, or differentiate the different tools a little bit more. Okay, so anyway, sorry for the exposition there. I like being able to tell other people that like, hey, you know, I did this and you guys can do this too. You know, you learn something new about the vehicle you drive like that. Sometimes you save yourself a few bucks, and you know, a long trip to the you know, dealership and or if your whatever your favorite, you know, mechanic shop happens to be. All right, I'm jumping ahead here. So we're already sorting by condition, and we're going to get rid of everything here. Right. But I thought it was an interesting learning experience. One of the more involved things I did on my at Equinox that I was driving. And also sometimes you look at those YouTube videos, you find I screwed myself up here because I was talking while I was doing this. So 4 pistons with Conrad, so 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, there, and there. We get the oil filter. Yes, we did. Okay. You're like trying to doing something simple as like replacing a battery on like an 18 Silverado, Chevy Silverado. Sounds simple, and it kind of is, but you have to like do a little bit of Jenga, not Jenga, but like Tetris type stuff to try to flip the battery on its side to slide the thing out without having to take your damn coolant reservoir out, you know? Because the official instructions are like, involve, you know, draining your coolant reservoir and then removing it, then taking the battery straight out once you do the cross member bracing and all that other stuff. And it's just like, no. I was like, there's got to be an easier way to do it. And that's when I went on YouTube and found out, yep. Because the battery doesn't fit when you try to lift it straight out, but if you flip it on its side, you can kind of slide it out. So sometimes you find some interesting little shortcuts like that. And don't even get me started on the whole thing of you know, car companies putting stuff in weird places, like the battery, for instance. Yeah. I mean, I'm not talking about like, you know, you put it in the trunk, it's fine. You put it under the seat, sure, maybe. You know, because it's away from most places you would expect it to be crushed in an accident, except, you know, being T-boned. But there's some cars where you have to take like the whole front end apart just to get to the damn thing, and it's just like, fuck that. Alright, so right, I backed out accidentally. I meant to switch to this place and get the rest of the regular parts. So we'll do that. Sorry, I just like to say I decided to add these little stories in here, and I know it's probably going to add a little bit to the video, and y'all can just skip that stuff if you haven't already. If you want. Some people like listening to that stuff, some don't. Rings, we're going to need 8 piston rings and rod cap. Okay. Put that on. Flywheel. Oil filter. Alternator and the cam gear. And we're going to work our way back to front. Bolt all this stuff in. Alrighty. But yeah, learning how to fix your own car, even if it's just doing, you know, relatively simple or straightforward stuff in it, it's like I said, it's still, you know, saves you a ton of money. I mean, hell, even just buying a code scanner for your car will save you hundreds of bucks. Because I had a family member that they had a check engine light, and the car was running fine, but it just said check engine light, you know, because it could be any number of things. Usually if it's blinking, that means it's really bad, but this was steady, but the car was running. They go to the dealership, get charged, you know, like 100, 150 bucks for a diagnostic, and or I think it was around 100 bucks, maybe a little bit more than that. And you know what the problem was? The gas cap was loose. Wasn't making a good enough seal, so he had basically a evap leak. Could literally be fixed by, you know, cranking on it a little bit more when you had, you know, gas caps on cars, because it seems like more and more cars, or at least the ones that I drive, the kinds that I drive, don't even have a gas cap anymore. Yeah, like neither one of my new cars, the 22 Equinox and the 18 Silverado, neither one of them's got a fuel cap. They got a fuel door, but they don't have a fuel cap. And that seemed kind of weird when I got my truck back in the day, because that was the first vehicle I had that didn't come with one. So that's all the parts. So let's go ahead and order the next round. Got both engine heads and the oil pan. Clutch plate. I think that's it. Okay. So go here. I know the engine heads are performance parts. Clutch plate's a performance part. Good. Go over here, get the oil pan. Alright. Go ahead and get that on there, so we just slap that in there. Get the oil pan on there, and then we can write the engine. Boop. Just like that. Okay. Let's sit on that. Exhaust manifold. Camshafts. Intake manifold. More camshafts. Got your exhaust manifold, and did we get the pressure plate? We did not. Fix that. Okay. That's going to be our next round. So go back over to the performance parts. Two brand spanking new exhaust manifolds. Two camshaft B's. Click. There you go. Intake manifold. Big and shiny. Two camshaft type A's. Done. 8 brand spanking new aftermarket spark plugs. I almost said iridium spark plugs, but I don't know if you can still see those anymore. Anyway. Get the pressure plate put on. Sometimes you don't click just in the right spot. You try to correct yourself. You end up accidentally double clicking on something and zooming in on something you don't want to zoom in on. Ooh, this is going to be a nice looking engine when we get done with it. All the shiny aftermarket parts on it. He's gonna be nice. Right, get the other exhaust manifold on there. Good to go. Both camshafts installed. All the spark plugs are in. So we got, what, 2, 4, 6, 8, so 16. Yeah. We need 16 of these. Okay. Get the remaining parts here, and we're going to get the clutch release bearing, because we dare not forget that. Alrighty. Let's go. Throttle's definitely a performance part. So's the fuel rail. Cam gears should be standard parts. Camshaft caps. Yeah, those are standard parts too. Alright. Flip on over here. Boom. I often thought about, as you know, some other content I was wanting to put on here is eventually doing like programming content, like scripting, programming, project stuff, things like that. Those, if you look at the channel description, I already have it saying that this is primarily a gaming and programming channel, but I haven't really done any like actual programming yet. So yeah, I've been kind of throwing around some ideas on what I want to do for that, since my most recent experience in terms of scripting has been with Python. I thought maybe doing some interesting stuff with Python, like maybe do like a couple of quick intro videos or something to try to get people off the ground with it, and then start going into like using different like packages and tools like NumPy and stuff like that. Maybe even playing with PyTorch. It's going to serve two purposes, really. One, it'll help educate people, even though there's already probably tons of content out there on YouTube already for that. But also, it's going to help me refresh my skills with those, because I haven't used a bunch of that stuff in a while. And I thought, well, you know, it'd be a good way to kind of do a dual purpose thing. Get me familiar with it again so I can interview better when it comes to, you know, describing the kind of stuff that I worked on, both at my job testing storage equipment, using automated testing with Python, and teaching people JavaScript and how to do stuff with, you know, the different testing frameworks for like for web apps, basically. Trying to communicate that in a resume is going to be kind of difficult, but I figured if I had stuff that was actually on YouTube that they can easily access and see, for instance, like, hey, this guy actually can work with this stuff. You know, I thought that would be basically be like having a portfolio, if you think about it. You know, like if you're like a graphics design person, you'll have a portfolio, or if you're a you know, you work with like magazine companies or newspaper stuff, and you have your own little samples of the stuff that you've put together, you know, that kind of thing. I thought this would kind of be along those lines, basically. Okay, so need a timing chain. I think we just need to get the rest of this front built up, and then we can eventually get the engine covers put on. So I was in the right spot. I instinctively want to flip over to the performance tab every single time. Okay, so yep, there's the Oh, we don't need the engine head. Get rid of that. I was aiming for the timing covers. Shoe A, another shoe A, two shoe Bs. Okay. But like I said, I want to branch out, build my portfolio, so to speak. And maybe get some good feedback from you guys, you know? And maybe even I could tie some of this stuff into, you know, modding some games. Like Minecraft, making custom content packs and stuff. Not necessarily graphic stuff, graphically heavy stuff, more like changing the underlying mechanisms of the game by just tinkering with stuff. I thought that would be kind of a fun way to show people the kind of stuff you can do, you know, for the desktop version of Minecraft, for instance. You know, take an existing block, change the functionality. In fact, I think there's even tutorials out there that we can follow and make our own, you know, stuff with that and just kind of add to it. You know, there's all kinds of cool stuff we can do with the content on this channel. And like I said, for now though, I'm going to keep doing this. I've still got plenty of content left for doing the car mechanic sim game. Because we still got a couple of DLCs to go through. We still have some other cars we can work on before we start kind of winding things down, basically. Okay. Now we can finally put the head covers on. Timing cover. Need anything else? We probably want to get those coil packs. Because once we get these engine covers on, we should get the prompt to put those in. Alright. So... yeah, I'm not going to bother to check to see if any of this stuff is performance parts, because I know they're not. Okay. Timing cover on. Get these engine covers put in. And I promptly forgot the oil packs, but we'll get those here in a minute. Yep. Get that along with everything here. So there. We got the roller. We got the arm. Water pump. Power steering and idle roller. Okay, got the coils. I think power steering pump. I think the rest of this is all, yeah, standard parts. Oh, come on, over there. There you go. Okay, 2 rollers. Looks like a bracket. And 1 water pump. Alright, let's get all this installed. And we'll go up on top and get the coils put in. Okay, what else we got besides the... okay, it's just the ignition coils. Okay. And the light reflecting off the engine covers is kind of washing out the part outlines. Alright. Let's see if there's anything else we need to add. Not yet. I think the only thing we got left besides the stuff on the front is just the stuff for the, you know, air intake And the engine cover. Right on. Okay. Okie dokie. Then we got coil covers that I forgot earlier. And a serpentine belt. Okay. Coil cover B. Okay, coil cover A, U, and a brand new serpentine belt. I have a feeling the rest of that stuff's going to pop up once we get this, yep. Okay. Be the last two things there. Need 2 filter bases. Get all that from right here. And got the fan, got the roller. 2 filter bases. Got you. Those should just drop in, and they do. Interesting the fan's off center like that, but I suppose it doesn't have to be dead center. Okay, those filters are going to be aftermarket, so we're going to grab those from here. And air filter cover. One very elaborate air cover. And we're gonna slap you on, and you're gonna have some little clippies that we gotta deal with. Like, oh, it's just like two per side. Okay. Nose are easily found right here. Boom. Okay, I think we're done. Looks a lot better than when we started, that's for damn sure. Hopefully it'll be a little bit perkier too. All those little percentages of all those little performance parts that we put in there. 1% here, 2% there, 5% there. Throw all that together. We're gonna get, I imagine we're gonna get a pretty decent increase out of this. If the last car was any indication, yeah, we're gonna be doing just fine on the horsepower and torque side of things. Right, let's drop that bad boy in there. Get rid of the cherry picker, thank you. One freshly rebuilt V8. Now I need to do the rest of the engine compartment. Oh boy, 2 rusty screws, or bolts. Excuse me. And grab that. Oh, back there so we can start grabbing this stuff. Oh, interesting. It's got a radiator fan housing here, and it's got a fan on the engine itself. Usually you see one or the other. I mean, you know, nothing wrong with that, but you know, see different things on different cars. Not every vehicle is the same. Let's look and see if there's anything else. Doesn't look like it. Alright, so since this has a full complement and we have an empty shopping list, let's mark them. Okay. Okie dokie. So everything else out of there. Neat. Alright, let's see where that left us. Okay, so the relays and fuses have already been marked. So the ABS system, fuse box, fans, all that stuff got fixed up. Even the brake servo got fixed up, which is good. So we'll just need to mark the ECU, washer reservoir, coolant reservoir, and our steering. Everything else looks like it's accounted for. Even if it's not, we'll catch it eventually. Let's get rid of all the stuff we don't want to keep. Bam. And since everything's already marked, let's go ahead and go buy stuff. Let's see. How much of this is not electronics? We'll get our steering. Coolant reservoir. Washer. And everything else appears to be electrical. So we'll switch over to that store. 4 relay type Bs. Meaning fuse type C. 2 fuse type Bs. Medium fuse type A. 3 relay type Cs. Good. Relay type A. And 1 ECU type B. Alrighty. Start putting stuff back in. I feel like we're missing something else here. I think I know what I'm missing, but I'm not sure why. Bet you it's because it's in a non-standard location. Anybody guess what it is? What's the one thing from electrical that I didn't get that I probably should have? Because I didn't go looking for it soon enough. Among other things. Guess the battery. You win. Remember I kept saying it was in a weird location? As in, it's not here with everything else? Yeah, it's probably back. Yep, see him? Yeah. We'll get it here in a minute. Easy fix. Alright. So let's get the fluids in, and then we'll go worry about the battery. And when we go do the battery, we might as well go ahead and do the exhaust and the fuel system and get the starter and the gearbox put back on. So we got ourselves a little bit of an order to work in here. So Excuse me. Nasty stuff, power steering fluid, man. It's not forbidden Kool-Aid for nothing. See, that's how the coolant should look. That stuff we pulled out of there was a lot darker. Please tell me I was afraid of that. Take the frickin' air filter cover off to get to the frickin'... You can't tell me they could have just milled that little part out. What happens when you go for aesthetics over functionality? I'm gonna get some hate mail on that one, but that's how I see it. Alright, so let's here and grab that thing. Plug it in and count to 5. Only they charge that fast in real life. Alright, so that should be everything in the engine compartment. We got all the fluids in, looks like. The oil, we got all the other stuff. Power steering's in. Alright. Close the hood on this one and we're gonna move on. We're gonna do the exhaust, or the rest of the exhaust, and fuel system. First, before we even get to that part, I'm gonna do some other assembly here. Starter back in there. And the front exhaust pipe, which we bought earlier. We need to go here. Go back to disassembly mode. Up here. Get rid of these two. And we're going to mark all of these. Two of these are going to get replaced by performance analogs. Over here. And we're going to go here. So fuel pump is an aftermarket part. The rear muffler is as well. Fuel tank is a standard part, so we'll go back over here. And we're good to go. Alright, so that is the fuel system and the exhaust. So the only thing that we should have left on this is just the rear and the front suspension. We're getting there. Let's see, oh man, we're at like 80% part condition. We could ship this thing right now, except for the fact that we're trying to get 100% on everything. Good stuff. Alright, let's get these tires off. Might just do like what we did last time, just tear down both the front and rear suspensions. Seemed to work out reasonably well. That way we have just like one big batch of parts to order instead of just two smaller ones. I mean, it's 6 one, half dozen other, honestly. We'll go ahead and pull this apart since we're up here. Okay. That. You should be able to salvage, or excuse me, save most of this. I have to be very careful because the game has a different definition of salvage than what I typically use that. They have a different definition of that word than I do. Let's put it that way. Alright, let's get these rubber bushings out. Come on, show me that last rubber bushing. There you go. Get this end link off. Start peeling this back. Oh, screw you. Both of these were rusted over. Oh. Getting ahead of myself here. I think that's everything. At least off to the front suspension. Yep. Alright, let's start tearing this apart. It's got a cross member as well, so I want to get the bushings out of that when we get to that point. Get that other upper suspension arm, I should say, not other. There we go. Okay, you're coming out next. Alright, let's work on this cross member here. Let's get these rubber bushings off here first, and then we'll start fussing with the stuff on the other side. Come on, get the bearing. There you go. I get too much of a hurry there, and you hold the mouse down and move the mouse, and it thinks you're trying to select a different part. Like, whoops. Just about got this all torn apart. A few more things to take care of. We'll go fix what we can, replace what we can't, and go from there. Alright, looks like everything. Neato. We'll get those assemblies torn apart and then we're going to go fix some stuff. Although the parts for these are pretty much never fixable. You always end up having to replace them, sadly. Alright, I'm going to focus mode here. I don't try to mess too many of these up. Most of this is in pretty decent shape, just like I was expecting. The rotors, I'll take them over to the lathe here in a second. I just want to get the rest of this fixed first. Dang it. Almost there. Just a few more to go. Alright, let's go over here. Take care of these real quick. Okay, there's number 2. Breathe in that brake dust. Get that cancer. I know they make them out of different things nowadays. I was just trying to be funny. It's neat that you can actually sit there and if you watch it close enough, you can actually see the physical change of the part as it's cleaning it up. Not just, you know, on the part that's being, you know, smoothed out, but also the rest of the part too. The rust disappears on it. You can see literally just see the quality or the part condition just go up visually. Yeah, nice. Okay, should be the last one. Hope everybody's got their safety glasses on. But I can't imagine these sparks are that harmful, but probably still don't want to get it in your eye. May not bother you right away, but if there's like a little bit of metal or something that gets embedded in your eye, that's why they ask you if you ever go get an MRI done. They ask you if you've like come into contact with like metal particulates, or basically you weld or do any kind of like metal work or anything like that, because there could be little bits of that stuff embedded in your eye that you either don't know about or have haven't had taken care of. And if you do, if let's put it this way, if you don't find them or deal with them, the superconducting magnet that they use for the MRI will find it for you, and rather painfully, potentially. Just saying. Okay, so where did this leave us here? So we have, man, quite a bit that's 100%, like 2 pages worth of stuff. And so yeah, mostly consumables and other stuff that's not typically fixable. So let's start marking things. Sure, we're here. It's clear. Yes, it is. Okay. So we're gonna just mark what we want. Okay. So now we're gonna sell all the stuff we don't want. We're gonna go buy the stuff we do want. Okay, 16 rubber bushings. You. Wheel hub caps. 8 small rubber bushings. Bam. 2 front end links. Couple of outer tie rods. 2 front springs. 2 front shocks. Brand new front sway bar. Got you. 4 brand new bearings. 2 rear shock absorbers. 2 brand new end links. Couple of rear springs. 2 inner tie rods. 2 rear shock caps. 2 front shock caps. Full set of brake pads for the car. And the rear sway bar to round things out. Right. Get the cross member in, and then we can put the drive shaft on. We can get that out of the inventory. It's such a weird perspective to do that from. Get the rubber bushings put in so we don't have to worry about those. Get on there. Thank you. Getting too big a hurry. Don't hold the mouse down hard enough and it just resets. And it's like, no. Doesn't set you back that much, but still. Why it doesn't pay to get in too big of a hurry when playing this game. Okay, good to go. Everything coming together nicely. Okay, before we put the tire on, just kind of doing a quick check. Make sure everything's in that should be there. Looks like we're good. Okay, let's get tire put on. And we'll flip over to the other side and do the same. Back up. Come on, get in there. There you go. Oh, I hear a motorcycle. The neighbors must be home. Looks like we're ready to put the drive shaft in. And slap a tire on this thing. Double check here, make sure everything's in. Looks like we're good to go. Alright. That is one freshly rebuilt rear suspension. Let's get front put together now. Get the bushings handled first. Just putting some of the preliminaries in before we start on one side or the other. We'll just go. Oh, wait. Forgot to do the assemblies. Yep, I knew I was going to forget those eventually. I was going good there, man. I was like several episodes in a row where I remembered to do the assemblies before, you know, putting the front suspension together, and I was like, whoops. That's alright though. No big deal. Come on, back up. Thank you. Double click on the wrong thing and it sends the camera flying elsewhere. Camera goes nuts. Check inventory. Inventory's empty. Let's check the car. And everything is at 100%. Good job, everybody. Group effort. We did it. Now we need to do the alignment, so we'll take it over there. Get the headlights and the wheels aligned. Okay, it's the headlights. Okay, good to go there. So now, we're off to the dyno room. Interesting to see what we end up with. So, 326 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque. Very respectable, you know, for a arguably luxury car. Let's see where we end up. Vroom vroom. Love the sound of that engine. .486 horsepower, so a gain of 160, so about a 50% increase. 515 pound-feet of torque for an increase of 161, so 46% increase for that. So, not too shabby. For a passenger car, yeah, not too shabby. This will get you places in a big honkin' hurry. Alright. Get you outside. We're going to get some pictures. Boom, and that one's going to be the video thumbnail, which you'll already have seen by the time this video gets uploaded. That one's going on Discord. Yeah. Cool. One last thing we're going to do before we take a look at the final result. Going to go off to the speed track. We're going to see how fast this thing can go. Hope everybody's strapped in. Alright, let's go. Solid start. Okay, up to 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160. That's how we're going to get out of her. Yep, 163 miles an hour. Ooh, she kind of went off in the weeds there. Or was about to before I bailed out. Again, you know, it's not a muscle car. It's not a supercar. This is to look nice and get you to places comfortably and economically. Well, as economical as you can be with one of these. Yeah. So, fully restored. Got all the numbers taken care of here, so, or rather we're going to take care of it. So, bought this for $56,900. I know, paid a lot for it. It was in decent shape. Oh, decent enough shape. So you can see the condition bonus and the parts and body values and all that stuff, how that factors in. And we're selling this for $153,317 for a profit of $96,357. Not bad. Not bad. What? 3-time return on it? Plus or minus some costs that aren't shown here. Anyway, it was a fun build. Let's go ahead and sell it. Hey, pushed us up over 3 million. Sweet. Okay, let's go move some cars around, shall we? So that was it for the Mercedes-Benz DLC. We have our filler episode car, which is the Echo's Cobra, which we're going to do some light restoration on. It's already in okay shape, but I thought the car looked nice, so I thought it'd be a fun thing to take it apart and give it a less gaudy paint job. We'll see. So that's going into Bay 1, because that's going to be the next episode after this one. And then we're going to go into the Lotus DLC. So you got the Esprit. Hopefully I'm saying it right. Been in all kinds of TV shows and movies, so it's a very recognizable car. If you're like me, initially thought, hey, this was the Magnum PI car. It is not. It's been in just about everything else, but not that show. Apparently. So we're going to move that to Bay 2. Because that's going to be 2 episodes out. We're going to move the other Lotus, which needs some love. It's the Lotus Elise. And basically it looks like a little Miata. You know, and it's missing a few parts. You know, this one's going to be an interesting build because of that. Yeah. So that's going to go in position 2 because that's 3 episodes out. And we're going to go to parking and pull the next lucky victim out, which is going to be the first of the Nissan DLC. I know some of you guys have been waiting for this for a while. Well, some of the other people on Discord anyway, or the Discords I hang out in. We're going to do the 370Z Nismo, or Nismo, however you pronounce it. We're going to get to the GTR, and yes, we even have the Fair Lady. I'm looking forward to doing the Fair Lady. This is a pretty car. Then again, I'm a sucker for older cars. Not so much the carburetors, but, you know, just the styling and the look and, you know, the feel of them. So yeah, let's move that over to the garage. Hopefully I cleaned this frickin' thing. Oh boy, this one's actually, yeah. This is going to be another one where we breathe on it. Take it apart, breathe on it, and then put it back together. And this one also we're going to change the paint color on. Position 3. Because that's going to be 4 episodes out. So, we got the filler car. We got the first Lotus car, the second Lotus car, because there's only 2 in the DLC. And then we've got... Well, hang on. Move parking because I done goofed. We're gonna do another filler episode. Actually, we're gonna get to the Nismo, but actually we're gonna go back and we're gonna look at our list of extra cars. We only have like 3 left. So we can either do the Hinata Moon, which I actually want to do that one. That one's actually been recommended to me. I got the FMW Roadster, Echoes Imperator, which these actually go, when you get this thing fully kitted out, this was an early contender for one of the more expensive cars in the game before I started doing the DLCs. Yeah, let's just do the Hinata Moon. I'm feeling it. Okay. That one's going to need washed. So, my mistake. I jumped the gun and pulled the Nismo out before we were ready, but we will get to it eventually, I promise. It's amazing how many of these I just bought and moved on. I must have been in a huge gosh darn hurry or something. Sorry, my nose is itchy. It's allergies non-stop out here in Kansas. Okay, so you're gonna go position 3. So we got... I'm not used to having such a small DLC to work with. Usually they're around 4 cars or more. So yeah, filler episode. The, you know, green, one green car. We've got both the Lotus cars, and we got another filler, and then we're going to jump into the Nissan DLC. So, my mistake. But yes, I did correct it. I like being transparent with this stuff to show you guys what we're actually going to be doing. So yeah, that's going to be our plan. I think we're going to have fun with this build here. I can't wait to do this one. It's an interesting looking car for sure. So, but we'll have to get to it next time. Probably with the way things have been going, because this video is being made like on Saturday night. So probably be like Tuesday, but Tuesday night by the time this gets made, so probably out like Wednesday. So expect it around that time frame. You know. But anyway, with that, I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notifications for any new videos or streams that I'll be doing in the future. And see you guys in the next video. Take care.